please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's log, subdate 230620.3. There is an odd stillness in the ocean. It's a little concerning, to be honest. We have set up sentries and our long-range scanners seem to indicate a large NPC object on approach. When it arrives, we're going to slaughter them. On the 19th of December 2022, I put out a video titled Amber Heard Finally Pays Johnny Depp. Okay, this is because she lost last year. Everyone knows this. It was horrendous for her. In fact, she lost because she was ill-prepared. Her team tried to gaslight everyone that stood up for Johnny Depp, and she was ordered to pay close to £15 million. Johnny himself, too, because one of his lawyers had chosen some rather poor words in an interview, and that was considered defamation. There is a playlist on this channel, by the way. There's about 22 videos in it, covering every week of the trial and fallout since, because Amber Heard was originally going to get a retrial. She failed. She got a new legal team, failed to get a retrial. Some tried to defend her, claiming she wasn't being given her voice. She then left the United States and now lives in Spain, living a different life because her acting career is all but over, ignoring Aquaman 2, but since the DCEU is essentially dead anyway, I can't imagine that going very far at all. If at all interested in watching that playlist, I'll link it in the pinned comment with all the sources for today's video down below. The reason we're doing this video is because that video was made at the end of last year, indicating that she was going to pay, but at that point she hadn't paid. In fact, it wasn't until very recently that he actually got anything, Johnny Depp that is. Johnny's career has gone through a renaissance. His first movie since this whole defamation trial came to an end has been released. It has been somewhat well received. There's still talk of him perhaps going back to Pirates of the Caribbean, although he has said no. Understandably so, 4 and 5 were quite weak entries in the series, and also Disney burned bridges with him without any evidence to support what he had been claimed to have done. And I will happily say this until I'm even more blue in the face. The UK court's handling of the defamation between him and the Sun was nonsense. There was no evidence of DV. They went with high probability. That is embarrassing. So the reason we're doing this video is because there are a few articles, the first being titled Johnny Depp donated his Amber Heard trial settlement money and now the charities are speaking out. I thought we'd go there first before we go to other related articles concerning Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's almost hard to believe it, but the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp defamation trial occurred a year ago. Since the public could watch the trial on TV, the discourse surrounding the former couple was almost deafening. The verdict was largely in Depp's favour, as his ex was found guilty on 3 counts of defamation and ordered to pay millions of dollars to the actor. He actually donated his trial settlement money and now the charities are speaking out. Amber was ordered to pay Depp $15 million by the jury. I believe he went for 50, but 15 includes, I believe, a limitation on how much could be given in one particular aspect that reduced it significantly. The 2 actors' legal teams eventually settled on a smaller sum though, $1 million. This might well explain why she sold her home in Nevada, was it? Not that she had much money to begin with. The 60-year-old actor vowed to donate that money to charities, and TMZ revealed some of their reactions. Make a Film Foundation confirmed they received $200,000 and called Johnny Depp one of the most generous people we've ever worked with. Make a Film helped terminally ill children make short films and documentaries with actors, so the money will go on costs of projects including equipment, which is admirable. Another organisation confirming the funds they received from Johnny Depp is called Red Feather, with the executive director Joe Seidenberg revealing that the donation will help address housing for the Native American community. Another, the Amazonia Fund Alliance, claimed that forthcoming money from Depp will help preserve the Amazonian ecosystem. And then there's Marlon Brando's charity, which reportedly received a donation of $200,000 of Johnny Depp's defamation winnings. That's an odd word to use, winnings. Frank Murphy, the executive director, offered a quote, "Mr. Depp's generosity is overwhelming and we are honored to be among these amazing organizations that he supports. His contribution will help us in its work to protect," I don't know what that bloody word is, support indigenous voices across the Pacific, and advance ocean-based solutions to climate change. This in turn raises Johnny Depp's stock because he's a man of his word and he gave the money away as he said he would. And let's not forget here, Johnny never wanted the money in the first place. He doesn't need it. He wanted her to admit fault and simply say sorry, which she never did. Closure, sure, but not really. Now, the reports of him donating the money seem to stand in juxtaposition to another situation where Amber Heard had pledged to donate the money from her divorce, millions by the way, to charity, because she shifted the goalposts. Instead of saying down the middle and 2 separate places would get the money, she said over a 10-year period. Okay, I see we have a long play here. Interesting. What makes it fascinating really is that in September of 2022, Johnny Depp himself donated money to one of those charities that Amber Heard had named. There are optics involved in this, and it's very hard to find fault in Johnny for simply stepping up and going, right, you're pissing me off now. I'm just going to donate it myself since you no doubt spent it all on legal fees fighting me. And for those who don't know, the exact amount that she was awarded was $7 million. Her then lawyer Elaine Bredhoff, who had 15 minutes of fame on TV, had said that Amber had not donated the full amount, but quote, Amber has already been responsible for 7 figures in donations to charitable causes. Well, Elaine did need to get paid somehow, and intends to continue to contribute and eventually fulfill her pledge. However, Amber has been delayed in that goal because Mr. Depp filed a lawsuit against her, and consequently she's been forced to spend millions of dollars defending Mr. Depp's false accusations against her. For a moment, I'd like everyone to imagine how different their careers would have been had Amber simply gotten the divorce, donated the money, and carried on without making her accusations in the Washington Post op-ed. Had she not, her career would have continued with some level of popularity, no doubt. The same for Johnny Depp, in fact. But now with the dust settled, look where they are. She got found wanting. She fecked around and found out. She pooped the bed and now sleeps on a bed of poop in Spain. Now, for a while after the trial had been concluded, Amber was in a separate problem, concern, and that is that such a large settlement was ordered, but she was never going to pay any of it with her own money. So how was it going to be paid? Actors, like anyone else in any profession, have a form of insurance. I have to pay insurance for the cleaning work I do, for example. It protects me, and of course anyone that's harmed will receive some kind of payout and my premium will go through the roof to cover it. That's just the nature of business and prevents me from being, well, sued to high heaven from savings. I don't have savings. I broke. Amber's issue was that her insurance company originally did not want to pay the full amount because they didn't cover her to that amount anyway. She was adamant they would, and in fact, they did pay the $1 million settlement, which means they did come to an agreement or an arrangement where it was in fact considered preferable to paying $10.2 million. And just to be exact, her home insurance company are the ones that will be paying it instead. Now, I did notice around this time a few articles surface indicating where Amber is, what she is doing. Akin to last year's Where Are They Now, I guess. So what I'm going to do is finish this video by going through some of that, because apparently Amber's trying to make a comeback, and the Daily Mail apparently thinks something else is newsworthy that we'll get to as well. Johnny has recently been taken to the stage because he's a part of Hollywood Vampires and they're currently on tour. Amber has been going for a jog. This is peak news reporting, everyone. Amber Heard likes exercise. The Daily Mail have absolutely smashed this article, haven't they? Thank you for sharing such vital information with us. I feel enlightened, in the same way as having someone shove poop right up your asshole. But according to Marker, an article site I've never heard of, Amber is gearing up for her much anticipated comeback, starting with an appearance at Sicily's Taormina Film Festival to premiere her new film In the Fire. The film in question is a supernatural thriller set in 1899 directed by Connor Alwyn. Heard acts as a pioneering American psychiatrist who arrives on a wealthy Colombian farm to investigate a case involving a child accused of being the devil. That's basically the synopsis in the paragraph, see? Yeah, how exciting. Here's a picture, by the way, of it, taken from Twitter. Now, I firmly believe anyone in any profession deserves a chance to rebuild their career. I really do believe that. I'm not entirely convinced Amber will succeed beyond getting indie-related, projects like Jussie Smollett, who's having to do director stuff because they're busy appealing their original sentence and verdict and being found guilty of faking a hate crime. It's very hard for Hollywood to get behind people like Amber Heard and like Juicy Small Tits, because it's just not worth it when you know that they're not going to generate a huge return. Hence why there's a level of skepticism with Aquaman. But in reality, there's additional skepticism because subsequent sequels on virtually every movie they've produced has been absolute shite. So whether Amber's involved or not doesn't make too much in the way of a difference. And just to be clear, she is still set to appear in Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. DC Studios co-chief Peter Safran confirmed that Amber Heard was never fired, and they never considered it as well, saying Amber is a valued member of our cast and her portrayal of Mera has played a pivotal role in the success of the franchise. You can't call it a franchise after one movie and a couple bits that appeared in the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and a tiny bit in the Joss Whedon one, but that was absolute shite. We are excited to have her back for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. How exciting. I can hardly wait to watch a superhero movie that will totally not suck balls.